And we're live. Are you gonna put your headphones on? You're just chilling.
Oh yeah, let me do that.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of the Hookah Smiths.
It still says episode 4, by the way.
No, it doesn't.
On YouTube it does.
I fix it. Oh, on YouTube it does. You're right. Let me fix that. This is episode 5. Today we're gonna be talking about. This was actually a viewer requested thing. Oh, YouTube crashed on me. Hell yeah. This is actually a viewer requested thing. We're going to be talking about how to improve a beginner setup. Like, what should you improve upon first? Like, say you've got a great pipe, you're really happy with your pack. How do you want to change it? Where do you want to start? That's what we're going to be talking about today. But we'd like, if you guys are new to this show, we like to start the first, 10 or so minutes, just talk about housekeeping, what we've been up to, what we're smoking, and yeah, anything new to the channel. But yeah. So what are you smoking?
I'm smoking some Tangiers Midnight Orchard Apple. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. And it's basically double apple. It's pretty good. I'm liking it.
Is there anything different that you've noticed aside from just double apple in it so far?
No. It's not like super sweet, and it's also not, it's not like Alfaker sweet, and it's not like Nakla spicy. It's kind of an in-between.
Interesting. That sounds pretty good. I like that. I like mixing the two, so it makes a nice balance. That's my favorite thing to do.
This is kind of like that.
I might have to try it at some point. I've been on a Cape Peach kick since I got Cape Peach again. It's just
Everyone's been back on that for a while now, actually.
I'm always on Cape Peach when I have it, but the problem is I'm on it so hard when I have it that I just run out. So, but yeah, I'm smoking.
You have it until you don't.
Exactly. It feels bad, man. I'm smoking my Matte Pear Simple. Smoking some Azure Dark Grow Up Hair. Which Mo from the r/Hookah Discord server recommended, and it is pretty fucking great so far. Are you smoking your Naras as usual?
That's why I didn't say what I was smoking out of.
You don't even need to, I guess.
No entrance necessary.
Yeah. So fun story, since we're just doing housekeeping. I told you I was doing a review, and I shot the entire review, and then I realized after I shot it that, oh shit, my mic wasn't on for the entire thing. So I have no audio for that. And then I turned my mic on to reshoot it, and my camera died, and all of my extra batteries were dead. So that's an F for that review.
Feels
for
bad.
now. Yeah, so that review hasn't happened yet. I'm gonna do that sometime this week, hopefully.
I'm dropping a picture review tonight on the Tangiers flavor I'm smoking now.
Yeah.
So,
good review? Bad review? You hate it? You love it?
that's what you gotta find out, right?
What hose are you using?
It's called, you don't even want to know. I got this on Amazon. I got it as a birthday gift. It's kind of like a B2 hose, but it's like some Chinese brand. But it's been good for 2 years now. It's made out of aluminum, has the silicone, and has the spring at the bottom.
Oh, right on. That's pretty cool. I
It's
mean,
like $15.
shiny. It's like hoses are kind of hard to mess up, especially when they're just pure silicone and a handle.
Exactly, and it's a slim handle, which I like.
Yeah,
It's easy to put in my mouth.
You know what else is easy to put in your mouth?
Food?
Knowledge.
Knowledge? Yeah. Gotta be hungry for the knowledge.
Hungry for the knowledge. Yeah, during housekeeping, this is also a good time for you guys to ask any quick questions you want, because we're going to try to keep all of our questions, we're going to try to keep questions to a minimum during the actual, topic itself while we're talking about it, and we'll answer any questions from them during the end. So if you guys have any quick questions for us, just drop those in the chat. We're both reading chat. So yeah, just do that.
I don't know if Little John, my boy, Cuckoo Kachoo's in here right now, but I cleaned the bowl I was using. I scraped it off before I came on to this live, just for you, because I thought about you.
Pixar didn't happen.
I'm using the same bowl that I took the pictures with, and it wasn't clean yet. So
I thought you sent me pictures earlier that looked clean. I don't know. I wasn't looking too hard.
Don't look too hard. You'll notice.
That's fair.
Actually, even though I'm always smoking out of my Naras, earlier this week for a couple days I was smoking out of my Starbuzz.
Oh man, back to old reliable, huh?
Yeah.
We should do a live dual review of our Starbuzz hookahs.
So you can tell people why it's bad for the new ones, and I can tell them why it was great before.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool to show like the actual comparison over a few years' time, how they've changed.
Yeah. We even got the serial numbers to prove it.
Yeah. I was doing an interview with Jake for the B2 blog a few weeks ago, and he said he has serial number 8 of the Challenger.
He should have 1.
I think Whale probably has 1,
Yeah, probably.
but 8 is still pretty insane. Mine's like in the thousand, like the tens of thousands. It's only
I
like
think mine is like 60. My friend has 40 something or 70 something.
no shit. Damn. Is Skitton your friend that has number 40?
Skilton. That's my roommate that plays WoW.
Skilton. Oh, is that the one that was talking shit because I play Alliance?
Yes, sir.
So he only loves half of THS, to be fair.
Yes.
Are you playing WoW?
No, I haven't. I played a long time ago, a couple years ago. I played for a while.
Alliance.
Probably for like a
MTH.
couple months, and then I stopped. Alliance scum. We still got 3 minutes, guys. I see you in here. Ask us some questions, and we'll answer them for you. If not, they'll have to wait to the end. So we know people love asking questions while we're talking about something else.
Yeah, it always happens. We always like, if you ever get any questions at the beginning, then all the questions come while we're talking about stuff, which is fine.
They're like, oh, yeah, well, we're speaking of that.
Yeah, which is fine. That's natural. But please list your top 3 Fumari flavors. Oh man, top 3 Fumari flavors. I would say,
Mint chocolate chill?
I wouldn't. I like that was the first Fumari flavor I tried. I like my chocolate chill. But
Tangelo.
I would definitely say Tangelo. Tangelo is god tier, dude.
Limoncello.
Yeah, I'd say those 2 for sure, and probably I would say Mojito Mojo, honestly.
Wow, that is rude.
Lucas on
Sweet
YouTube.
mint. Sweet mint's good. I like sweet mint.
Sweet Mint's good, but it's not something that I go to like smoke all the time by itself.
Yeah.
Lucas
I
on
mix it with
YouTube.
other mints.
Lucas on YouTube says Fury Warrior for life. He's clearly a man of taste. Kukukachu got screws here, so you can tell him about your clean bowl now.
Oh, if you weren't here before, I cleaned my bowl for you before I packed this one.
Can confirm.
Hopefully that makes him happy.
Probably not. He's never happy.
Probably not.
Mochaccino is actually the flavor I'm going to be reviewing in the next few days that I shot a silent review of the other day.
I thought you were doing something else on a video.
I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do I need to do the Mochaccino review, and then I'm going to do the auto sealing hoses review, which I finally got to test that, like actually using 2 hoses. Gutshot888 says, "Do you suck each other's cock?" We suck each other's hoses. That's as close as we get.
We have a picture of it for proof.
Yeah, that's somewhere on Reddit. I don't even know where it is now. I think it's on my Imgur somewhere.
Definitely on my
Wait,
Reddit.
let me look. I'm curious now. Fucking Christ.
If you guys haven't noticed, I've been posting a little bit more on Reddit because there's a lot of new people, a lot of people that need to learn, and I want to teach them.
No, I do have this great picture of you in a Coco Earth shirt on my Imgur for some reason though. That I just have that though. I don't know why.
Oh, send it to me. I want to see it.
Oh no, I'll just pull it up on the stream.
Go for it.
Nice. Oh man, can I zoom? There we go. Nice.
Yo, I'm looking kind of nice.
Looking fresh. Looking not too different from how you look now, honestly. What was that?
Well,
that was like 2 years ago. That's crazy.
I'm closer to that weight now, but I just lost that 40 pounds.
That's lit. All right. Well, I think we're good with our housekeeping. So let's talk about where you should really start when you're looking at upgrading your beginner setup. So I think the most important thing is thinking about when you should start upgrading. When do you think you should really start to upgrade your beginner setup? Do you think you should like know how to pack a decent bowl first? Do you think you should have a shitty rig for a while before you're like, I should upgrade? Or do you think you should just not even bother with a beginner setup and just go straight into the good shit?
Well, it depends on who you know and where you started, really. I mean, if you know people that have a lot of knowledge, then they can start you out strong. But if you're just a beginner, just showed up on Reddit or Facebook, then I would suggest that you get your packs down for the brands that you like, and maybe get a decent mid-range pipe. But I don't necessarily think that you should stay on the super cheap, tiny beginner pipe for very long if you're already exposed to this knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people start with like shitty Maya pipes or stuff like that. And I am talking shit about Maya because I think Maya just makes terrible pipes for the most part. Some of their newer things aren't as bad, but for the most part, they're just not great. But if you're starting out with like a Maya pumpkin hookah, I think it's really important to get your pack down first. So you're like, you can put out some decent clouds on them, even a pumpkin Maya if you have the right packing style. Because if you don't know how to pack your bowl and you go to a better pipe, you're gonna be like, why does this hookah not make cloud? Because I have seen that way too many times. I often see people saying, does this pipe give me good cloud? And no, pipes don't innately just give you good clouds. So I think it's really important before you even think about upgrading to know at least the basics of how to pack a bowl.
On top of knowing how to pack that bowl, you want to have decent coals, right? So
Yeah.
you
So
get your even titaniums, cocoas, whatever you want. As long as you're switching to coconut, you should instantly have a somewhat better experience.
yeah, even if you're using coconara, I mean that's a step.
Anything.
I would never tell someone to use coconara, but that's a step above. That's a step above just basic three rings coals. I would be really cringed if someone was using a B2 and some quick lights, to be honest. So before you even think about upgrading, make sure you're using the right coals and you know how to pack a bowl. I think those are probably the two most important things. And some of the times when you're thinking about upgrading, something that's helpful is having an HMD. You don't have to have one, and we're not going to talk too much about that. That's something that you can add later. I personally think that you should learn to pack a bowl with foil well and consistently before you even think about switching to an HMD, because an HMD for some people can become like a crutch. Like I've got a buddy that refuses to use foil at his own home now, so he literally only smokes with an HMD. So when he comes over and wants to pack a bowl, sometimes I hide the HMDs, and he just doesn't know how to pack bowls. So it becomes a big F in chat for that. But yeah, I think it's really important to learn how to pack foil first. What do you think?
Yeah, foil is a very good starting point, and it gives you a lot of insight on how the bowl should properly be packed in the first place. And you're going to gain a lot of experience doing that. And when you do decide to get an HMD or something of the sort, then it will be much easier to transition to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to upgrade your pipe from there, you certainly can, but I don't think that's like necessarily the first thing you should look at when you're starting to upgrade a pipe, because a pipe is not something that's transferable to another hookah, very obviously, because they're two separate entities. I think you should really think about upgrading your hose or your bowl first, and that's where we're gonna segue into in a second. Is Gutshot your other roommate?
No, I don't know who that is.
All right, that might be a hard ban.
I think so too. They're not very nice.
No, not very nice at all. How do I ban people on Twitch?
Click on their name and ban them.
Where the fuck do we do that? Where do we go? You talk criminal, I figure it out.
Alright, so one of the first steps into upgrading your pipe or your hookah experience is going to be the bowl. You're going to want to get a bowl that's made out of good quality materials such as clay. There are a few metal bowls that are worth mentioning, but I'm probably just going to be sticking to clay for now. You want a bowl, well, first off, there's the Egyptian bowl, which would be the very very basic bowl that you could get. It's only $5, and it's going to be a huge upgrade from using a ceramic bowl. So that's a good first step. Or you can get a funnel bowl, and there's many funnel bowls that you can choose from. Depends on the brand you're smoking, really. If you're smoking off Hookah, you're probably fine with the Egyptian bowl for a while. But once you want to branch out to different brands, you're probably going to get some more juicy stuff. And the Egyptian bowl is just going to leak a lot of the glycerin out of it, and that is going to take away from your smoking experience. So that's when the funnel bowl comes in.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I had a basic funnel bowl for the longest time. I was like, you can smoke like alfalfa out of it. You can smoke most things out of a Egyptian bowl. But when you start smoking things like fumari or things that are excessively juicy, that's when you're gonna start to realize like, oh shit, my base turned black or brown after like 20 minutes of smoking. And that's certainly when it's a good idea to switch to a funnel bowl. There are some good funnel bowls you can start off with. I think some of the best ones you can start off with are like the Goodfella is one of the, like, it's one of my go-to, like, this is you can do everything with a Goodfella. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, Goodfella, 80 feet.
Yep, 80 feet bowl, Alien.
A lot of the Hookah John bowls are definitely good beginner, intermediate, and expert bowls. Like, you can use them, doesn't matter how long you've been smoking. They're really solid if you're starting out as well.
Yeah, and even some of the alpaca bowls, like the Alpaca Predator or Symphony, are great bowls to start off with because they're pretty straightforward, pretty easy to the point. They have a little bit more depth with the spire bridges and stuff like that, but it's still pretty simple when it comes down to it. And that's the thing with most funnel bowls; they'll, for the most part, be pretty simple and pretty easy to use.
Yeah, I would agree. But if you're just beginning and you don't want to expand on to the funnel bowl lifestyle, then the Egyptian bowl will be perfectly fine. It should smoke most brands pretty decently as long as you get yourself a good funnel or a good Egyptian bowl. There's a lot of variations with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the most important things is when you're looking at upgrading your bowl, you can have an Egyptian bowl, but it cannot be a true Egyptian bowl. Like a lot of off-brand or Chinese hookahs will come with really shitty ceramic bowls. So you want to think about not only the kind of bowl you're looking at getting, or what kind of you have, but you also want to look at the kind of material it's made of. Because if it's ceramic, it's not going to hold heat very well, and you're going to have a subpar session because of that. It becomes easier or harder to heat manage with ceramic than it does with true clay for the most part.
Yeah, and if you want to get a little bit more in depth, the higher quality clay is going to allow your bowl to hold in the heat, which is going to give you a longer session and more even cook as well.
Yeah, Darsh on YouTube asked about, he said it's a bit early for this, but how would you guys rate the performance of white clay, black clay, red clay, and stone? Is there a wide difference between the different clays? We usually save questions till the end, but I think that kind of ties into what we're talking about, so we'll go ahead and address it. White clay, black clay, red clay, and stone. I think you can honestly, for the most part, lump the three different kinds of clays all together. I'm not super familiar with black clay. The only one I can think of is what was that one soup?
It was a Hookah John, like creation bowl, right?
Quote unquote Hookah John creation bowl. What was it called? The Project Black, right?
Yeah, Project Black. That just showed up out of nowhere. The guys on Reddit just...
It wasn't even on Reddit. It was YouTube or Facebook too, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, they just made a random post saying we have a bowl coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, they were doing all these weird marketing. But anyway, those kind of clays are generally going to perform the same. You're not going to notice, if you're looking at like the tiers of clay, you're going to look at those three in the middle, ceramics down here, and then on the very top, that's when you start to look at things like stoneware. And that's going to be like proprietary blends that Stone and Mason use, right?
Yeah, those two companies specifically use stone.
You've got one right beside you. Do you want to show the difference between the just the bottom of the bowl where you can see the clay of the stone bowl versus a regular bowl?
All right. I'll take my Goodfella V2, and I'll take this stone bowl. So we got the Goodfella V2, and you can see the clay is relatively thick. It's not too bad. It's a solid bowl.
Yeah.
Like, I would use this for basically any brand. It will be good still. But then you look at this, and you can see how much thicker the bowl becomes, and how much more weight is added onto that, and that is going to help keep that heat in.
I think the biggest thing that you can notice when you're looking at them, it's hard to tell on a webcam, but the the stone bowl is just dense. It's like really dense
Yeah,
stone.
you can feel it.
Yeah,
The difference
when you're
is
holding them,
noticeable.
it's like the stone bowl easily weighs double the weight of the Goodfella, and it because it's so dense, it holds heat a lot better. That means when it's hotter, it'll stay hotter for a little longer, letting you milk a little bit extra time out of your goals, which is why it's considered the top tier right now. And
Yeah,
Mason shisha wares have that as well, but it's a little bit harder to show on theirs because their bowls don't start getting thick until you get to the actual bowl itself.
yeah, that shit's dense.
But yeah, dense as fuck. But yeah, so that's the real gist of it. And when you're looking at upgrading bowls, you also not only want to think about what kind of bowl you're getting, but what you're getting in relation to what you're smoking. Because if you're smoking Tangiers a lot, you might want to look for something like the Alien Bowl or an 80 feet bowl, something that holds less. If you're smoking Alfaker all the time, then you can even go with a Harmony because it's not. I mean, it doesn't really matter how much. It doesn't matter as much how much it holds because it's going to, need that fluff back anyway. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it doesn't really make too much of a difference in that aspect.
What do you think is the best bowl to go to if you're looking for just like go to anything will smoke in it?
Well, it depends. Do you want a small bowl or a large bowl? I guess
Anything,
that's a good question to ask.
anything it will smoke in. Like, I think when I think of something that anything will smoke in, I think something medium size, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, like we said, the Goodfella bowls, Tangier's small is even a good option. Uh,
But like something you wouldn't want to do is like if you smoke a lot of Alfaker, you wouldn't want to go and snag that Tangier's Pico bowl, for example, because it doesn't work too well with Alfaker.
yeah, the Tangier's Pico is mainly for black leaf, specifically Tangier's in general.
Yeah, and so it's when you're looking at what you're smoking, you want to think about when you're looking at the bowl you're getting, assume that it's going to work for what you're smoking, and don't just assume, but do some research to find out what works well for that bowl. There are a lot of great reviews on pretty much every bowl out there, and if not, you can always ask on the forums on Facebook or whatever, and someone will know. Everyone has a kind of that kind of bowl at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Optimus Prime said, assuming 1 hour or one round of coal for your single bowl choice, then I might just go with like an Alien, even, because it's going to smoke all the brands that I particularly like, and I think it's going to smoke them well for 1 hour.
And like when I look at how I smoke personally, I use the Provost so much. So I think about I want a bowl that fits Provost, and I want a bowl that'll smoke pretty well with every brand. So like the Alpaca Predator that I'm using right now is a great choice because it doesn't hold a ton, but it holds enough where it'll work with Alfaker and work with Tangiers. So it might not be optimal for either one, but it'll work with both. So that's just another example of something that'll work for everything. You don't always have to find something that'll work for everything if you know what you like smoking. But
And just to mention, if you are using that kind of bowl, for foil at least, I feel like
right,
if you're a beginner, that's a little bit small.
yes,
So they probably burn it a lot easier than something a little bit wider. Doesn't even need to be hold more, it just needs like wider. I feel like it's a little bit easier to heat manage that for foil.
yeah, absolutely. And I think
See, then you're adding in variables and stuff.
right, there are a lot of variables to think about when you're looking at upgrading bowls. But I mean, I think that covers the majority of it. I think the one other thing is you want to make sure you have a grommet that fits. This is something that I don't think anyone talks enough about, is that so many bowls require different grommets. It is rare that I have to use the same grommet all the time because if you look at the difference between an alpaca bowl and a hookah john bowl, the bowl ports are considerably either wider or smaller depending on which ones you're looking at.
Let me pull some out for you.
Yeah, Alex has some he can show you. It's pretty substantial difference, and depending on the stem you're using, I don't think there are any grommets that'll fit both very well.
See, as you can see, the what is this? The
mini Egyptian, whatever. It doesn't really matter what bowl it is, but it's an alpaca, and you can see
this is an alpaca bowl.
You can see how wide that bowl port is versus the kind of tapered hookah john bowl. So you wanna make sure you have either a thick enough or thin enough grommet, depending on what bowl you're looking at getting and what fits on your stem of choice. I mean, it'll depend on your stem, of course, but that's more up to you than anything, based on the
Yeah,
problems
it
you have.
definitely depends on the stem because I actually typically use I use like a mod grommet for my NARs because of the way it's thinner and it's tapered. But if I wanted to use my Starbuzz, I use a completely different grommet.
Right.
So
And
that's
like,
definitely dependent as well.
yeah, and I honestly think it's almost worth it to just have a few different grommets, just like, in case you
They're
lose
cheap.
one. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what, like it charge like $1 for a 3 pack or something like that for most places.
Yeah, you can even get the variety pack for $1.
Yeah, so buy a variety pack. And grommets are something that are worth investing in, because it's something that, I mean, if they're good grommets, they'll last you forever. I've had this grommet for like 4 or 5 years, I think, or something stupid like
Yeah,
that.
I've had mine for a long time as well.
And I always buy new ones, but I usually end up going back to the same ones. All right, so we've talked enough about upgrading your bowls. Let's talk now about upgrading your hoses. And when you're thinking about a beginner setup, going back to that Maya pipe, most Mayas come with unwashable hoses. That's why I almost think it's more important to upgrade your hose first if you've got a non-washable, non like a cloth or metal hose of some kind. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And if you are going to be using, there's a few non-washable hoses that are worth mentioning, that are worth using, and I typically would only use that for single flavors. Like if I wanted a double apple hose, I would maybe use one of those.
Yeah.
If that is if the hose permits based on like how wide it is and how comfortable I am using it in general. But I feel that if you're not using a washable hose, you are probably either one, not smoking very many different flavors, or two, just not simply knowledgeable enough to switch it. Because if you don't switch it, then you're basically going to get rust in your hose, and you definitely don't want that.
Yeah, and I think most people just don't know that washable hoses are a thing. Like that's something that I knew they were a thing, but I didn't like know the extent of what they could do for like a solid 3 or 4 months after I started smoking. And making the switch to a washable hose does make a pretty big difference. Having that crisp, clean flavor every time really will make a difference in your session.
Yeah,
Um,
then you're mixing flavors together, and if you don't have a washable hose, I mean, you technically could wash it, and then it would get ruined. But if
yeah,
you're not washing your hose, then you're mixing all these different flavors together, and then it just tastes weird.
Skilton on YouTube has a relevant question. He says, "What kind of hoses are you guys using right now?" I'm using a stock mat hair hose. It's just a simple, just tube with a washable silicone hose, malleable, whatever you want to call it. It's easy to use. Pretty simple. What are you using?
Very similar style hose, but I got it off Amazon, $15. I think the company is Bud Pro, to be honest, and I don't want to mention that, but
Bud Pro.
it's very similar hose, tube style hose, thin, silicone. Yeah, those are typically very solid hoses to have
And
because they're very versatile.
I think your hose actually raises a good point. Is there are a lot of good non-name brand washable hoses out there. Like you can look at brands like Bud Pro, and if you just look at the materials and look what it's made of, you can find yourself a decent hose for super cheap. Um,
Yeah, Amazon 2 day shipping. Like you could have it on Tuesday if you ordered it now.
but yeah, exactly. There's a lot of little things you can do to save some money if you really want to when you're looking at upgrading hose. But what would you say are some of the name brand go-to washable hoses for you?
I mean, I don't own one, but Mason hose, but that's getting pretty pricey. If you
Nah,
want to keep it to more like a
yeah.
cheap area.
Ignore the artisanal hoses for now. Like that's a different issue. That's not. If I'm telling someone to upgrade to a basic hose, I'm never gonna tell them to get a timber hose because those are like what $100 depending on which one you
All
get.
right. Well, if you're putting it that way, then either a fancy hose, thunder hose, uh, what else? Those are the ones I use the most.
I don't think I'd ever tell someone to get a fancy hose personally because that's like
I don't think that's a bad option.
it's not a bad option, but it's very. Those are usually looked at as like a one and done kind of hose. Like you can wash them, you can reuse them, but those materials won't last for more than a year.
Yeah, but they're also only $5.
That's true. So
They're
that's
actually cheaper than that. You can get a 2 to 3 pack for $5.
yeah. So that's cheap and it's a good option. But when I look at hoses, I usually want something that's gonna last. Like I've had the same D hose since I met you in 2015, and it's still smoking fine. So I would think like when I tell someone to go for a washable hose, I usually say like go for a Namor, Narbiche, what's the
Oh, I
Najum.
didn't know that you were talking about cloth-related hoses as well.
Oh, I'm just talking about washable hoses in general. Because I
Yeah,
think that
those
is
are also good options.
that's the thing you go for. It's just a washable hose. It doesn't matter what kind of washable hose it is, so long as it's washable. That is the single most important thing to look at.
Yeah, and then you get into like the gauge of the hose.
Yeah, and so you want to look at. This is another thing we'll have to do some research and find out what hose fits the way you like to smoke. Do you like a restricted smoke? Maybe you want to go for like an the Osley hose or something like the Narbiche Najum Namor hose. Those are a little bit more restricted than some of the other hoses. So you like a little bit more of an open draw. Go for a D hose. Those made open draws that was like the standard for open draws and hoses for the longest time.
Yeah, for around 2 years. I'm not. Well, if we're assuming they have this Maya Gelato Hookah, right?
Right.
I don't know if I could 100% in my mind recommend a D hose. Maybe if they have like a slightly bigger pipe, because
That's
I
fair.
feel like it would tip.
And yeah, that raises another good point. If you have a smaller hookah, you want to make sure you're not buying a heavy hose like a D hose because it will tip your hookah, or at least it can. It's not going to be guaranteed, but you want to make sure you've got something that'll sustainably be able to, not knock your hookah over, for lack of a better word.
They could attach their hookah to a brick.
Yeah, well, bricks are more useful than my gelatos, in my opinion.
Rude.
Yeah, very rude.
My QD though, that's a.
Whatever you say, fam. Thunder hoses are another great option. You have a lot of experience with thunder hoses. You want to talk about those a little bit?
So, it's just plastic, right? It's like a hard plastic.
Vinyl.
The tubing is like a hard plastic. The whole thing is actually hard plastic for the cheaper ones.
Yeah.
They have very long. The hose. What would you call this specific?
The length of the piping itself.
Yeah, the piping itself is quite long. It's longer than most hoses. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
when you get it, it comes at like 70. They
72
eventually
inches.
rip a little bit, so I had to chop it off a little bit at the top because when you wobble it, like after a couple of months, it'll probably rip.
Yeah, thunder
That
hoses.
happened a few times.
I think thunder hoses are some of the best starter hoses because they're not the most durable. Like they'll start to rip like right here, but you can literally just rip it off and stick your handle back in and still have a flat hose.
That's what I've been doing. I've had the same thunder hoses for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, thunder hoses, they're washable or easy to use. They're light, so you'll never have to worry about them tipping anything over. They're just really good, simple hoses that
Also,
stand up.
Yeah, but we're specifically talking about the Thunder Dark, right?
Right.
All right.
Because they have some. Because they also have like the Thunder
Few.
Pro, which is too expensive, has a super wide draw, and from my experience, it was not as durable as the Thunder Dark. As weird as that sounds.
I have a few of them.
Yeah, I
have
had
the Thunder
two.
Pro.
Yeah, I've had two over the years. I just didn't care for them. I don't know if I still have them or not. I don't know. They're
Which
back
is
there.
the one specifically that you liked a lot? The cloth one?
That's the Thunder Slim, I think, is what it's called. It's got like that. It,
Is it?
I think it is. It's got that like the two like little cloth bulbs and a cloth handle. That's my favorite, but I just like the handle more than I. That's the thing with the one thing I don't like about the Thunder Dark is the handle's like this long. So I like to smoke like propped up like this, and it didn't work as well for that. But that's just personal preference, and that's another thing you need to think about when you're looking at what hose to get.
But basically what we're saying is, most important thing, make sure you get a washable hose. It's going to allow you to clean it and have a crispy, clean flavor every time you want to switch flavors. If not, you're going to be stuck meddling all those flavors together. If you want to smoke some dessert flavors, some mint flavors, some fruit flavors, it's going to become this weird blend, and it's not going to be very desirable.
Yeah, and I actually have a personal anecdote for that. Like when I had an unwashable hose, first time I was like, I knew about washable hoses, but I hadn't invested yet. The first time I was like, I need to get one. I smoked a bowl of Alfaker grapefruit, and then I smoked a bowl of Fumari mint chocolate chill. And that bowl of Fumari mint chocolate chill was probably one of the worst tasting bowls I've ever packed of my own. It had too much grapefruit and mint chocolate chill. Grapefruit chocolate is not a good combination, to say the least.
Doesn't sound like it.
So I would definitely, and the thing is, if you don't want a washable hose, you need to make sure that you're like a single flavor kind of person, and you're not washing your hoses. Like, say you only smoke double apple, if you want to invest in a quality non-washable hose, that is a solid option. Just make sure you're not washing it, and make sure you get a high quality one that will stand up the test of time. Because even some of the non-washable ones, like the KM Rainbow hose, it's got metal in it, so you still don't want to use that kind of hose, because that will rust just from, like, hoses get water in them when you're smoking, just from the hookah or your mouth or whatever. Yeah, from the water vapor. It literally just happens. So if you're gonna dedicate a hose, make sure it's one that is safe to dedicate, like an actual cloth hose or leather hose or something like that. And you can even dedicate washable hoses. Like, I have a Narvish hose that I've dedicated to double apple. You just don't wash it. And it doesn't ghost as well as some of the cloth hoses or things like that, but it still works.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever ghosted a hose? Like, intentionally?
Purposely?
Yeah.
If I'm smoking the same flavor for like a month, and like I'll clean the pipe, right? But I'll keep that hose dirty.
Yeah.
And I'll just use that one when I switch back to that flavor. And then when I'm either out of that flavor or not smoking that flavor category anymore, I'll wash it then.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with washing hoses is you never have to go. If you're washing them every day, you don't have to go super in depth with them. Like, when I wash my hoses every day, I just like run water through them, like just run hot water, get all the nasty shit out, and hang them up to dry, and that's really it. If you've got a ghosted hose, you can use some, like, I used to mix like lemon juice, and just swish that around in there for like a solid hour, then run hot water through them. That's how I unghosted hoses. But
what is that method called, where you have water going through the hose, but it's like you have it facing downward and it like spirals it all through? You know?
Are you doing the whirlwind kind of thing?
No. Okay, so basically, this is what I used to do to clean my cloth hoses. If you get water, you boil a pot of water, you put the one end of the hose in one end, and then you suck it through the other end, and then you hold it downward, and it will suction it all through. And that's how I was able to clean my hoses back in the day.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, it like floods it with hot water.
Give me 1 second. Someone just sent a link and it's not popping up, so I need to find out how to allow links.
Yeah, I see the comment,
yeah,
but not the link.
Yeah, just go ahead and talk for a minute. I gotta find that.
Real Pro. I don't even know how to say that. I'm sorry, bro. My hose progression went non-washable, Narvish, D-hose, Aviator, artisanal.
Yeah, that's
pretty
standard. Yeah, that's what I have. That's what happened with me.
Maybe not the Aviator in specific, but yeah, I think I went non-washable, Namor, couple Namors, then fancy hoses, then Namors, and then D-hose onto Thunder hoses, and now I'm at this silicone hose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty standard go-to. I cannot figure out how the hell to allow...
Can you see the link?
No, I can't see the link. Alright, well
then.
Guess we're chilling with that. Sorry about that, but can't...
Can you send it... if you want to send the link again, so we can answer your question, you can send it to either him or me in a private message on Twitch, and it should send.
Yeah, or Facebook. Do it. Send it to him because I don't have it. I'm on the Hookah Smith's Twitch stream. But
yeah, if you want to send it to me, you can send it to Mintio.
You might also be able to send it on YouTube, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, too much time on that. Let's see. So as far as when you're upgrading hoses, I think the other thing, we go back to what we talked about with bowls. You want to make sure you have good grommet too. That's another thing we were saying. Just buy a variety pack of grommets, because like there are so many grommets that will work, so many that won't. Like I've used standard Egyptian grommets for the longest time. I've used mod grommets. There's a ton of different ones you can use, but you want to make sure you've got one that'll work, because having the wrong grommet is probably the worst thing.
Alright. He sent me the link. I sent it to you on Discord.
I can't open it on Discord because that's where your screen's at.
Okay, but you can open it up for everyone else.
Oh, okay. So let me just do this. Uh, huh. You've been gnomed, huh?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, well that's getting close. Can you go back there? Alright. We got gnomed. That's fine.
Everyone's been gnomed.
Happy gnoming, everyone. So when would you say, now that we've talked about upgrading your bowl and your hose, what would you say is the next step in upgrading? Where would you look to upgrade your session beyond that? Assume you've got your coals down, you've got your bowl packing down, your heat management down, you've got your hose, you got your bowl. Where would you look to go next?
Well, once you have all those basic steps down, you got your bowl packing down, you have your typical funnel or Egyptian bowl, you got your upgraded hose. Then you can either look into upgrading your pipe to a more solid pipe that's going to last you much, much longer. Or I think you could go another route and you can upgrade your bowl to a stoneware bowl, considering that those are somewhat better than the regular clays that other bowls are made out of. Or you can get a heat management device, and that's going to make managing your heat that much easier. And I feel like those things are only applicable once you have those other steps down. I wouldn't recommend getting into those until you've gotten all those other things out of the way.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't have to upgrade. Like, if you're happy with your setup, you've got a good pipe that'll last you, like you got a Zara Spade or like a Sheikah Electro. If you're happy with that and you're happy with how it's smoking, you don't have to upgrade. There's no, like, law that says you have to upgrade by any means. So don't take this as us saying, no, you have to upgrade all the time or else we will cut you. No, we don't care. Just make sure you're happy with your setup. You can go the further step, like the real pro Duke Nukem is saying in chat. You can color coordinate your whole setup if you want to. You can upgrade to a artisanal bowl or hose, like Alex was saying. You can. There's a lot of things you can do. There's so much that you don't.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, you don't have to do any of that. If you're happy with your setup, you're happy with your setup, and that's totally fine. I was rocking the same KM for like a solid 2 years. But I got a good hose and a good bowl, and I was fine with that. And that's fine. You don't have to upgrade. It's not something that's necessary. If you enjoy it and you like having different pipes, you want to end up with 21 pipes, then you can do that, and that's fine too. There's no like right or wrong way to smoke hookah. We're not trying to tell you how to smoke. We're just trying to tell you what you can do to make your beginner setup better. But if you're happy with where you're at, that's fine.
Yeah, and I feel like, like you said, a lot of those things aren't necessary, but they will improve your session a smidge here, a smidge there.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to be up to par with basically everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, when I started reviewing, I had a KM. That's all I had that and a shitty glass hookah that I sold a few years later. And then I got a Starbuzz, and I did the majority of my reviewing, like in the beginning, with just a Starbuzz pipe, just a D-hose, and just a couple of basic bowls. But that's really all you need to have a quality session. If you want to get fancier with it, you absolutely can, and that's fine too. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to smoke, and we're not trying to tell you the right or wrong way to smoke. We're just trying to tell you best way to get a quality session. I think if you have a pipe like a Maya that doesn't have the best of build quality, maybe you should look at upgrading to a better build quality pipe. But if you're happy with it, you're happy with it. And that's really all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just all small recommendations that could or could not make your session better based on your preferences.
Yeah, and I think honestly, the most exciting thing in my time of smoking hookah has been trying new flavors. That's always been my favorite part. And I love new hookahs, don't get me wrong, but there is nothing better than, like, I got an order last Monday. I got a bunch of new flavors. It's honestly like...
Tell them where you got it from.
I got it from 5 Star at his request.
Yeah.
And it's honestly just like the best feeling is just opening up new flavors, trying new flavors, figuring out what kind of packs work for new brands. And for me, it's about telling people about those new flavors and writing reviews and doing all that kind of stuff. So I always encourage people to participate. Join the chat on here, join the chat on the Discord server, join the chat on Facebook, Reddit, wherever you join. Talk about hookah. It's such a fun thing. That's always been my favorite thing with hookah. I mean,
yeah, and you can find out something that you might not have known, or you can get recommended something you might not have even considered before, and then you try it and then you love it.
Yeah, and then if you've got friends like I do who don't participate in the online stuff, that's fine. You don't have to participate in the online stuff, but I love showing those friends the things that I found. Like showing them the B2 hookah for the first time was amazing. Showing them the right way to pack Tangiers for the first time, amazing. It was just that like those. It's hard to beat those kind of experiences and that social aspect, and that's really what hookah's built around, isn't it? The social aspect. I mean, that's how you and I have been best friends for like 3 years now. Just talking about hookah, talking about other shit involving hookah.
Yeah, I mean, you start talking to them about hookah, next thing you know, you're talking to them about a bunch of other stuff, and you make lifelong friends.
The next thing you know, you're in Florida with someone's hose in your mouth, and that picture ends up on Reddit.
And I just want to mention real quick, since we do recommend questions for the last 10 minutes, if you guys want to start thinking about questions now, and we'll start answering them during the last 10 minutes, you can get those all fired up, and we can start answering them once the last 10 minutes start.
Yeah, and that is like all questions. Doesn't have to be related to just this. Any questions you have for either of us, totally open.
Also, recommendations for the next live, because we did this one based on recommendation for you guys.
Yeah, that was actually from
talk about anything.
That was from Optimus Prime, I think, wasn't it? From YouTube.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, so if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, we're really enjoying the show so far. So really enjoying talking, and we like talking about things you guys like to talk about, want to hear us talk about, because that's, I mean, really what it's about. We're not just talking to talk. We're talking because we like the conversation. Like we were going back to saying, we like talking about hookah. So yeah, I feel like I've rambled for like 5 minutes.
Who cares? It's our stream.
It's very true.
We gotta flip these coals real quick.
You do you, fam.
By the way, this pack is not too bad.
That's good. That's good. But yeah, I think.
Being told I pack way too much.
Well, you do those fat overpacks, but that's fine for you. It's just not what I like.
Yeah, but I'm totally okay with trying different things that I don't do too often. And while this works for me, other things also can work for me, and maybe I'll like this better.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're trying to say about the whole community. You can learn about something that you might not have considered before. I was told that maybe I should try a different style pack. And even though I've been smoking for many years, there's always something you can learn.
Yeah. And, yeah. My main point with all of this was just, you've got a good setup, you can improve it. Even if you've got a great setup, you can improve it. I mean, like the real Project Nukem said, his current setup is a B2, a Relix ring bowl, a Moses leather hose, and a Provost with Cocoa Earth big cubes. Those are like, it's like everything you can possibly upgrade. I'm sure he has a fucking boho on there too. That's like, that's like the pinnacle of where you can end up with a setup. And that's, but you don't have to go there. If you want to go there, sure, go for it. But make sure you've got quality bowl, quality hose, quality coals, got your pack down, and that's really all you need to be sufficient with hookah, I think.
Yeah, and as we said before, biggest key factor is what you like, and make sure you're doing what you like, not based on what other people are telling you to do.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people that will tell you there's only one way to do things, and for some things I might agree with that, but I think you should always be open to the idea that there are different things that can work. Don't always discount people if they say they're right all the time, but, you know, be open to new things when it comes to hookah. I mean, just at life.
Yeah, it's all about the experience and trying a bunch of different stuff until you figure out exactly what you like.
Yeah, and catering your session to you specifically. Because that's really all it's about. It's not, unless you're smoking with friends, I guess, and you want to make them happy, which is another point, but, you know, that's also comes down to preference. If you want to make your friends happy, pack what your friends like. I don't pack K-Peach when some of my friends are over because they don't like K-Peach because they're wrong, but, you know.
I don't pack. Well, actually, even when my friends don't like something, I tell them I'm packing it anyways. Like strong mints, I said get over it.
I've calmed down on the strong mints with my friends. Alright, but yeah, we're in the Q&A session now, so any questions you guys have, we're going to talk about them. Real Pro Duke Nukem says, my question is, when is Wade's next review, Pepe Hands? So you weren't here in the beginning, but basically, I actually shot a review Thursday morning, or Wednesday afternoon, I can't remember when it was. I shot the entire review, and then I realized my mic was off the entire thing. So I was like, fuck, all right, let's reshoot. So I went to reshoot, and then my camera died, and all of my batteries for my camera were dead. So I had to charge my camera, and I lost motivation for the day. And here we are days later, and I haven't re-recorded. So I do have a review. It's going to be out in the next few days. I've got all the B-roll done for it, and I know what I'm going to say. I just need to actually review it, which will hopefully be out this Wednesday.
I wish people would ask me when my next review is. If you wanted to know, it's today or tomorrow morning.
When's your next review?
Tomorrow morning. Thanks for asking. There will be a picture review on a flavor I got from my good friend John.
When are you doing another video review?
Somewhat shortly after you post yours.
Yeah, we're trying to get on a schedule where we post like in the 2 weeks between our podcasts. We do like one of us post 1 week, the other of us post the next week, so we can, do that.
Trying to streamline it a little bit.
Yeah, trying to be consistent. It's just something I am so bad at, but I think that's
telling me.
That's the best thing about this podcast is with the two of us. It's great for us to we encourage each other to be consistent.
Especially since you can't do the show without both Hookah Smiths.
Yeah, I mean you can, but then you got the Hookah Smith and friend, I guess.
That won't work. Both.
Optimus Prime on YouTube said, next topic, pack method for blonde and dark blends. Good show, guys, and thanks for taking my recommendation. And have you guys tried the new craft shisha blends? I haven't heard of craft shisha. Have you?
No. Could you tell us? You're saying quote unquote craft shisha. Is that the brand name, or is that the type of tobacco in which they're referring to? Just let us know about that. The real pro Duke Nukem said, when is the last video of him burning that Bud Pro hose? I don't think it will burn, buddy.
I mean, you put anything in a fire hot enough and it'll burn, but...
Yeah, it'll melt eventually. But I can put it to a flame and I don't think it'll burn.
Yeah. Optimus Prime said it's a type of tobacco. I haven't heard of it. Send me some links on Reddit or something. I'll look at it. I'm interested. I haven't heard of it yet.
He's also on the Discord, so yeah, just drop those somewhere. Right. I want to see that too.
Yeah, just add us in the Discord and I'll look at it. That's like the majority of the time when I look at things on the server. Like, I'm always there, but I'm never looking at anything. You guys were talking about fucking the UFC fight for like 12 hours straight, so I was like, yeah, bored. Not my thing.
Sports, not my thing.
I love the sports ball.
Headquarters Hookahs makes use of different blends of tobacco. Alright, so you're specifically talking about Headquarters. Have you tried their tobaccos? I have not.
I tried. I had one puff of one of their flavors at Hookah and Beyond in 2016 from actually Kyle, the owner of Relay String. It was his flavor he brought, and it was okay. I mean, it was something. I wouldn't go back to it, but it didn't seem to sell very well.
So he's also talking about Baja tobacco. So I feel like when you're mentioning these brands, craft means specialty brand, like brands that make specialty flavors. I guess they make a lot of different specialty flavors.
Well, I mean, any brand could be said it's a quote unquote craft blend. Like you could say Azure, it's that too if you wanted, but I guess it depends how they market themselves.
Ooh, we got somewhat of a question we got here. I probably get flavor out of about 10% of my sessions. Different pipes, different bowls, different heat management, different coals, different brands of shisha. I've watched videos on packing. Any suggestions? What do you got for us, Wade?
I think if you're having that much difficulty with it, try just sticking to one thing. Like stick to one pipe, one bowl, assuming it works with whatever brand you're using. One heat management style, one coal, one brand of tobacco. Get it down with just one thing. Once you've got it down with one thing and you can consistently get flavor out of it, then maybe you start switching things up and seeing. Once you got it down with one thing, you can start changing your variables and like say you try a different hose and see if the hose is the problem. Maybe so like if say I'm smoking this map pair setup with this hose, this bowl, this everything. Say I swap out the hose and I'm all of a sudden noticing the flavor's not there. I can say, oh, well it's this hose, or oh, I try a new bowl packing method, it's not working. Then you can once you got it down with one way, you can start changing things up one at a time and that makes it a little bit easier to find out what's going wrong. But I think once you got it down, one thing, just smoking one way, get it down perfectly, then you can start to look at what the issue is. It makes it easier anyway. What do you think?
I agree with all of your points. I also feel like it'd be very helpful if you have someone to talk to, such as ourselves. And I'm going to drop you a link to the Hookah Discord.
Yeah.
And that way, if you have any specific questions, you can send us photos and things like that, and we can give you step-by-step instructions on how to improve what you're trying to improve.
Yeah.
So I feel like that will be great, and having someone to talk to improve something is a very simple way to improve what you're doing. What would you consider best type of bowl? There's a lot of good bowls out there, buddy.
Best is very subjective. Best for me is not going to be best for him. It's not going to be best for you. I mean, I think the best type of bowl, you could just say funnel bowl, but then there's so many different types of funnel bowls that it gets rough thinking about the best type of bowl. So, I mean, if you want to go the overall best bowl is probably like stone or mason bowls, I guess, but those are so different in what they use that and how they work with what brands that it's hard to just say that's a definitive best, Yeah.
If you told us what brands specifically, it would be a little bit easier. But wait, I can't drop a link on YouTube. I don't know if you can drop this Discord link on YouTube since you're on the owner account.
Maybe. It wasn't letting me edit the video. No, it's still not letting me edit anything on YouTube right now for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Hookah Spaz. If you want to add either of us on Facebook, you can add us, or you can message me on Reddit, or him too. Both of our Reddit names are on top, and our Facebook names are on bottom. And we will message you the Discord link, and we'll talk to you on it. Maybe that will help you out. Funnel better than Vortex. I would definitely agree with that statement. Funnel bowls are definitely going to be better than Vortexes. Vortexes have that weird lifted spire, and it's very easy to clog. The materials aren't very good. I guess when I think of funnel bowl, I'm thinking of something somewhat quality. So, in general, I would definitely say a funnel bowl is going to be better than a Vortex bowl.
Yeah, I think Vortex bowls can be fine, like the stone Vortex bowl. Those are solid, but funnel bowls in general, it's easier to pack anything in a funnel bowl than it is in a Vortex bowl because you don't have to worry about clogging the spire.
And you can't use heat management devices of any kind, so if that's something you're accustomed to, you can't do that. Actually, you could. I think I've done it once back in the day.
Yeah, but it's 9 times out of 10 I would go with 10 times out of 10 I'd go with a funnel bowl over a Vortex bowl.
11 times out of 10. Final offer. Yeah, please add us and we will get you started with some help.
Yeah.
We're here for that.
I think the Discord link's also on Reddit, so if you go to reddit.com/r/hookah, it's on there somewhere.
No, it's actually the first link, I think.
It's usually pinned to the top.
Yeah.
No, it's in the side.
We'll definitely get your ass in there. I'm looking forward to helping you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Along with many other people.
Yes, we're always looking to help. But yeah, that's going to about wrap it up for us today, guys. We're about to hit 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, because we're the only 2 East Coast boys around. But yeah, it's going to about wrap it up for us today. If you guys have any other suggestions for the next show, just, send them to us. Drop a comment. I'll be around for a few minutes after the show to read any comments you guys drop on the channels. And yeah, do you have any closing statements?
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the recommendations. We really appreciate that you guys are here every week to chat with us. We enjoy your company.
Yeah, we enjoy the conversation. It's been a lot of fun. We're still enjoying the show. We hope to keep it going as long as we can. And I don't know if we've said it officially, but after episode 10 or so, we're going to start having different guests on and talking to a few different people in the industry about various topics. I know we're going to have Mason Shishaware on at some point because he said he wanted to. Strictly Shisha said he wanted to at some point, and I'm sure there are others we could get on at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun.
Yeah, but we're just trying to get a baseline down for what we do, our format, so you guys can get a very basic understanding of what we're like on a podcast. And yeah, that's gonna about do it from the Hookah Smiths for this week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we will catch you guys in 2 weeks. And we'll both be dropping, hopefully, video reviews the next time span between then.
We will be dropping video reviews.
I don't like definitive statements like that.
We must.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
See you guys next time.